So you know how I told you in the last video that we're kind of building both of these cars at the same time, so this one gets a little love and then that one gets a little love. Well, today it's time for the Calypso to get some more love because this one got the Steeda Stop Hop kit, and I will take you guys out for a full ride along with it. So far, I can definitely feel that the car is stiffer and more responsive. I didn't realize there was slop, I guess, in it to start with from the factory, but there it is. We'll see what that translates to at the track, but ride quality, everything else is the same. It's now time that we move on to the Calypso. Before we move on, I want to show you something else that we got in today as well. We got the G101A for Berger's car. We have got the T56 over here, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, you just put this thing in. Why we got this thing out, right? Well, it's because of this. Let me explain. Over here, we have the Vengeance twin disc clutch, which I love, but we need something that's gonna hold a little more power than this. McLeod hooked us up with a bad clutch that absolutely should hold the power. I'm gonna do my best to try to re-index this thing just to make sure. It is a nightmare with this tiny hole up here in this plate, and I'll go over that in a few minutes with you guys. Let's go ahead and unbox this, see what we got.
Drag swag on Etsy. Come and get some custom drip.
So this is the RXT 1200. Ooh, I love the McLeod stickers. That's like the coolest little sticker ever. So here's your pressure plate, your clutch disc. Oh man, that's cool. Like, they don't just send you one, they send you multiple, different diameters, I guess. Yeah, this is a twin disc clutch, but I want you guys to know, don't be afraid of these twin discs. The 65 Fastback actually has a twin disc, or did have a twin disc in it. They're pretty easy, they're just bolt in, right? There's all your hardware. But you need to pay attention to the way these things go in because it kind of gets confusing. It's not like a normal clutch, and the fact that you have two. You have this plate, and you have that, right? We did not opt for the lightweight flywheel. We actually went with the heavy flywheel just to keep that inertia up. So when you're drag racing, a lot of times you want that momentum, that inertia from a heavier flywheel. So whenever you go to leave out of the hole, this thing doesn't just fall back on its face when you dump the clutch. Some cars don't need it, some cars do. I think this car will benefit from a heavier flywheel. Here's your weights, your counterweights right here. So on the back side of this, you're gonna see these holes here. Now I already know we're gonna need the 28 ounce balance. 50 ounce, which is this big one, is gonna be for your 302, pretty much just your 302. 351, 289, stroker, it's gonna be this setup here with the 28 ounce. And here are your dowel pins, so you need these to line up your clutch. So these will get pressed in or knocked in. Well, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get my together and get this flywheel up on the car, get the backing plate up there, and see if we can index this thing. I'll probably skip forward when we get the bell housing on this thing, see where we're at. All right, I like to start at like 35 foot-pounds, just get everything seated. Always look up the torque spec for whatever bolts you're using. So we're using ARP here, and we need to make sure that we use ARP torque specs instead of factory torque specs. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and bolt our bell housing up, get our index plate on this thing, and then we can start to index this bell housing. Got a little cheat code for you. This is something that's not talked about in the community a lot, but I think it's worth mentioning. So let's say you're by yourself, right? If you put this thing up there, this dial indicator, and you zero it out, as you can see it's zero, and then you spin it around a full revolution and you never see more than about 11 thousandths, 12 thousandths, then you are within spec. And the reason for that is because whatever measurement you would get, say 10 thousandths, you would half that, you would divide it by 2, it would be 5 thousandths, would be the actual runout. 5 thousandths is within spec. 6 thousandths is within spec. I want to say 6 thousandths is like the max. What we're going to do now is spin this thing over, and I'm going to show you that we're somewhere around about 11 thousandths off, okay? Which equals half of that, so 5.5 thousandths roughly. You guys may see a different number than me, but what I saw, you're no more than 12 thousandths out after you set it at 0, then you don't have to go any further. You're good to go. You're within spec. All right, well, that being said, we're calling this thing within spec because it's extremely close. And we're gonna go ahead and pull this off, put the clutch in this thing. By the way, I just talked to Andrew over at Hanlon Motorsports, and he talked to Inland. They are sending us a new drive shaft, 1350 U-joints. We're talking billet flanges, yoke. Oh, it's gonna be sweet. Guys, I hope it's worth it for them because they have sent us some really nice drive shafts over the years, and I really like what they do. They work quick, so you can go through Hanlon if you want to get your drive shaft, or you can contact Inland directly. Nope. Back in the day, y'all, I could have done it. I watched the damn UPS guy, or FedEx, whatever it was, literally pick this box up and carry it. And I'm like, dude, you're crazy. You're crazy. Anyway, right now where we are, we're indexed good. And we're gonna go ahead and take this plate off. So if you don't know what checking runout is or indexing, this is it right here. Let's go ahead and get this clutch in, and I'll give you some tips, some tricks, some pointers, whatever I can do once we get there. Oh, really? Now you wanna act a donkey. Oh, I'm gonna hit the camera. I know it, it's coming. Nope, I didn't. All right, so we're gonna take the bell housing off so that we can install the clutch. You would think brake cleaner would just get it oh so clean, but it really doesn't, see? It just kind of smears shit around, and you have to come back and buff it off. All right, McLeod does label everything for you. I don't know if you can see it, but it says bottom disc. So bottom disc would be this. I think that's it. That's gonna be it, yep. I do apologize to you fellas. I was on the phone with Ben, the owner of Date Night. We're trying to get his car set up with the supercharger deal. He needed to call Donnie B. In the process of talking to him, I kind of threw this thing up there. I can already see we're probably gonna have to cut this damn strap, as bad as I hate to, but it's probably gonna have to happen. Anyway, as you can see, I've got the transmission somewhat started. So this is where things start to get a little aggravating here. And this is where a lot of you guys will start to have trouble. So I figured I would pick the video up back right here. Now, the biggest thing is keeping this gap even. So the bottom and the top, you need that as even as possible, because that should be where that input shaft falls into place at. And we are going to try our best to get this damn transmission up there. Oh, look at that. She went right on in. I'll be damned. Let me see if I can get this strap off without having to cut it. See, I always strap my transmissions down, and the issue is you can't ever get that off. And I really hate to cut my strap, but I will. The other thing is we need to make sure that this clutch fork sits perpendicular. What's the right word? Parallel? So I adjusted the pivot stud the way that I thought it needed to be, but let's get this thing up there and check it for sure. Looks like we actually may be okay. Now, the shitty part is this transmission might have to come out another couple times to be able to get the shift fork pivot stud correct back here. It needs to rotate this way And I believe we can get a bolt started. So let's go ahead and try to do that now. We got one started there. And not quite there. So we need to come up with the back of the transmission. What we're gonna do is start to tighten this thing down just a little bit. Told you guys this before in the previous video, but you wanna be very, very, very slow about doing this, right? You don't wanna go too fast. You don't wanna crack anything. The biggest thing is you gotta make sure your dowel pins are all kind of lined up in the for the transmission that goes into the bell housing. Look at that. She's popping right on in there like she needs to. A little bit of this. I like to use this because it only probably has about 35 foot-pounds of torque. And with this long extension, probably more like 20. So we're actually pretty good doing this. I feel comfortable with that. So it's got to come back out, and here's why. See, I got all excited, but there's no play. No play right here. So we can't have that. So we're gonna have to shorten up the stud a little. That's got pressure on the throwout bearing, so that's not gonna work. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing out a couple times, and I'm gonna adjust this pivot stud, remember, on the front side of the transmission, so that we can get some in play here. So we need about, I think it's 40 thousandths. Got the transmission back in, adjusted the pivot stud. To do this, I actually brought the stud in a little bit further, and look at that. Got a little bit of play here. And also I'm gonna be testing out this new light, because you know I'm a flashlight guy. I love our little clear lights, but I keep losing them. So I figured, we'll try something different. So anyway, here's this light. I'll put a link down below if you guys are interested. It's got a little swivel head on it right here that you can swivel and you can attach it. Just hanging out up there. Got the little, okay, I see you, dog. So we're gonna take 40 thousandths. Actually, this is 22 and 25, so that's 47 thousandths. So 47 thousandths, and it basically barely fits in. So we should be good with that, guys. That's what you want to check if you can. You know, don't skip this step, because what you don't want is this thing riding, right? So having a little bit of extra play is fine. Look how freaking straight this thing is. Parallel, perpendicular, whatever you want to call it. She's sitting right, baby. It's hot. So let's talk for a second. We're right back where we were with this car, obviously, a few days ago, whenever we originally did the T56 swap. We got a new clutch in. We needed to put this thing in. We got sponsors, right? We need to do our job. The T56 swap itself is not hard to do. I mean, this thing just pops right in. It fits great. Where you run into a problem is your long tube headers. If you're doing a T56 Magnum, because that clutch arm hangs down like this instead of like this, right? If you got that, there are headers out there that work. You can use the BBK, but you gotta beat the shit out of them. So we're right back where we were. We've measured for our drive shaft. We're just waiting on Inland to send us our new drive shaft, and this thing's gonna be back on the road. Yo, what's up, bro?
What up, sweetheart? Yeah, I gotta keep it PG. I got the little one in the car. Here we go. This has been the hot topic lately. Small block Ford or Coyote, right? Macy, do you like Coyote motors or do you like small block Ford motors? You like Ford motors. Hey, that's a good answer.
There you go. That's a safe answer, okay? So
yeah, so we did an adjustable pivot stud for that exact reason. So, you know, for customers that obviously don't have any adjustability because of the stock pivot stud, they might run into, you know, needing an adjustable pivot stud to get fork angle right, obviously, and then, you know, get your air gap between, you know, your throw up bearing and fingers of the pressure plate. So that's all part of it.
Yeah.
And it is not uncommon to have to, depending if the customers run like a single disc or a dual disc, and obviously every clutch and flywheel thickness is different as well, you know, between different brands. You know, it's not uncommon for the customer to have to shorten a pivot stud a little bit to get the fork angle and that clearance distance, you know, proper.
Huge shout out to Hanlon. That's where we got the transmission from. A McLeod with the clutch. You can get all that stuff from Hanlon, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up with you guys, and I'm gonna talk with Andrew for a second, make sure we got all of our ducks in a row. So I'll holler at you guys in a few. I just got off the phone with Hanlon, had a good little conversation. So he's there to help remind us we need to be doing what we need to be doing. So there's a lot of things that I take shortcuts on and stuff like that, but ultimately you wanna have a warranty, right? So he reminds me all the time, hey man, you know, you need to be checking the clearances and things like that and indexing stuff and, you know, checking Runout so that you can make sure that you have a warranty. So you guys do those things. I know they're aggravating, but go ahead and do them, and that way Tremec or nobody like gives you a hard time about your warranty if you ever have an issue. And it's bound to happen, right? We're gonna have issues. Now that being said, we're done with this for now. Everything went in great, flawlessly, wonderful, till we got to the header. So put the header on and it is touching the clutch fork. I think we still got clearance, but it's tight. So that's for another day. Guys, we'll be testing this car out here in the next 3 weeks, I would probably say, because we gotta wait on the drive shaft to be built. I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks. We'll slap this drive shaft in, we'll get this car on the road. Then we're gonna be swapping everything over to a carb and Terminator X at some point. So a lot of stuff happening. We gotta change the gears in this car. We also gotta do coilovers on it and a few other things. We gotta make this thing nice, right? If we wanna compete, we gotta make it nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. And as always, just imagine him saying it. Thanks for watching.